Big salute, big salute, big salute to all my loved ones, all my donors, all my sponsors, all the loved ones, man. Love y'all, man. Love y'all, man. Y'all know what time it is. Big salute to my big brother. Happy birthday, big bro. Well, happy belated birthday. Birthday was yesterday, but hey, big salute, big bro. Wish you many more prosperous birthdays, prosperous times. Yeah, it's a little cloudy this morning. You know, I guess that's part of being in the mountains. You know, early morning it be a little cloudy, then the sun come out. Cause sun, it may rain today, then it may not. You know, that's one thing about being in Africa. You can't predict this weather. I mean, you can't predict the weather nowhere, but here, look, it look like it's gonna rain. Another 2-3 hours, sun gonna be out and it's gonna be hot. So you know, so if you come to East Africa, make sure you pack you a hoodie or a jacket. Cause on the west side, you don't necessarily need a blanket to sleep. You don't need a hoodie or a jacket. But on this side, yeah, especially by these mountains, boy, woo. Yeah, I love it though. I love it. So let's continue where we left off yesterday, y'all. Rooftop read. Well, this is update questions of what we've been reading. So I'm not gonna read the questions that the people ask, but I'm gonna read the questions. I'm gonna read the answers that Black Roots gives. So hopefully, the answers he gives, it will answer any questions that you may have. Let me get that backdrop good. I'll try to get some new scenery for y'all too. You know, I just like being up here on the roof. Feel like I'm on top of the world. Okay. Hi. A pregnant woman should go back to eating once or twice or thrice a day, 3 times a day. As soon as she discovers she's pregnant, she should start eating once every 2 days. Assuming she was eating once every 3 days, do that for about 2 weeks, then eat once a day for another 2 weeks, then twice a day for 2 or 3 weeks, and so on until she's back to her previous schedule. Then keep it until after she stops breastfeeding. Then go back slowly to the normal schedule of once every 3 days. By going 2 or 3 weeks at a time, when you're in the 3-day schedule or the other schedules before that, juices are okay. Juices and water. Juices and water are okay. So if you get that urge while you like, dang, I want to eat, but I know I don't want to break my schedule, juices and water. You know what I'm saying? Juices and water are okay to drink during the fast. You can start with the heavy juices such as vegetable juice, carrot juice, orange, banana purees, etc. After a few months, cut down on the heavy juices and start taking light juices like apple juice, grape juice, lemonade, etc. The purpose of a fast is to rest the stomach. Digestion requires a lot of energy. That's why people usually doze off to sleep after a heavy meal. That's the stomach's way of taking over their whole body's energy so it can do its work. It doesn't even want the person awake enough to think because even thinking takes too much energy. So by fasting, we give the stomach a rest and we take back our energy. And that way, the body can use this extra energy to heal itself and do other things without being burdened by the process of digestion, which is constant 24/7 in some people who never fast. Hence, even heavy juices should ultimately be avoided in the end. Hence, even heavy juices should ultimately be avoided. In the end, after you have been on this 3-day schedule for a few years, you can cut the heavy juices and only take light juices between meals. Even then, don't drink the juice all day long. The same applies to water. Use it only 2 or 3 times a day, about 1 glass at a time. Okay. I'll start posting more updates and questions again a bit later. Have you finished the whole book? We haven't finished yet. We working on it. We working on it. We taking in all the juices. Check the internet for any information regarding metabolism, but I doubt you'll find anything about this aspect of it. Scientists don't know this information. They know about the general metabolic rates of foods, but not about that of the poisons in all foods. In fact, most don't even know that all foods contain some amount of poisons in them. If they were to find out that the metabolic rate for such poisons is 3 days, do you think they'd publish information encouraging people to eat only once every 3 days? They'd put the restaurant and grocery and farming establishments out of business. But do a study on the web, you just might find the evidence you're looking for. So he's basically saying if you don't believe what he say, do your research. If you don't believe what anybody says, just do your research. That's all you gotta do. Do your own research and come up with your own conclusions. Even though you might not find all the information you're looking for. Do the second level. It's designed to lead you to the first knower in you. You could eat a little meat if your body cannot do without it. Don't eat it every day, maybe twice or 3 times a week. While you're working on the 7-year fasting plan, read How to Eat to Live. Read How to Eat to Live. Read How to Eat to Live by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It will give you a good idea of which foods are good to eat and which are not. Those punishments you mentioned were directed at the light races, so the punishment of eternal damnation applies only to them. The reason is because with them, such behavior is not an imitation, but is rather inborn or natural. So it's near impossible for them to give it up once they get started in it. With black people, it is always imitative behavior and is easily shed once they enter their natural condition in the mental works. So the eternal damnation or second death is really a self-destruction brought on by the fact that they willfully refuse to give up such behaviors. All black people, except children, do go to the hells for 3 days after they ascend. Every person has sinned to some extent or another. It's not possible to remove the stains of these sins immediately. Hence, we are pulled to that place by the desires that led us to commit those sins. So we all go there for 3 days and experience the spiritual fire whose purpose is to cleanse us. This doesn't necessarily mean we will suffer during that time. If a person does not identify himself with his sins, then he will undergo that ritual with quite a detached state of mind and will see that it's simply a cleansing experience from beginning to end. But if he identifies with it and believes he is a sinner and not a God, then the experience will cause some suffering. But every single black person always becomes enlightened after 3 days and the experience ends. So when you go to hell for 3 days, that's just your cleansing. You got to cleanse your sins. So just accept it. I've accepted it. I've accepted all the sins I committed. I know I'm going to have to answer for. So I'm ready for my cleansing. Ooh, clean me, Lord. Clean me. You're right in that part of your analysis. Time in the mental realms is completely subjective. There are no orbiting planets, so there is no way to measure time like that. The 3 days is from our vantage point on Earth. If you could see a beloved of yours who has passed on, you would see them enter the hellish realms and then exit them after 3 days. After 3 days is from vantage point Earth. You could believe your pattern. milligrams, and then after 3 days. But to them, it could be 3 minutes or 3 years, depending on how they interpret the experience. If it causes them suffering, then it will seem like 3 years because, as you know from your own experience, time passes very slowly when one is suffering, but zooms by extremely fast when one is in a state of joy. Um, so let's stop there, and then we'll be back with some more updated questions. So big salute. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.